Hi friends, welcome to English Study Point. Today in this video lecture, I am going to discuss another poetry by Andrew Marvell titled as an Horatian ode upon Cromwell's return from Ireland. The forward youth that would appear. The opening line suggests a youthful individual, Cromwell, who is eager to emerge and make a mark, must now forsake his muses dear. So the youth must abandon the pursuits of poetry and art, the muses, indicating a shift from peaceful creativity to action. Nor in the shadows sing. So he can no longer languish in inactivity or unimportant endeavors. He must take decisive action. His numbers languishing. Numbers refers to poetic verses which are now fading or becoming ineffective. This time to leave the books in dust. It signals a need to set aside scholarly pursuits, suggesting that intellectualism is not enough in the face of current events, and oil the unused amours rust. This highlights the call to prepare for battle. The armor represents readiness for war, neglected in times of peace. Removing from the wall. So, the act of taking down armor or weapons signifies a move from passivity into action. The corselet of the hall. The corselet is a type of body armor, shows the importance of being prepared rather than remaining idle in comfort. So restless, Cromwell could not cease. Cromwell's character is depicted as active and driven. He is never content to stay still. In the Inglorious Arts of Peace, refers to Cromwell's dissatisfaction with peaceful pursuits, suggesting that true glory lies in military achievements, but thorough adventurous war. This line emphasizes the necessity of engaging in war and adventure to achieve greatness. Urged his active star. So, active star implies that fate or destiny propels Cromwell towards action and significance, and like the three-forked lightning first. So, this simile shows Cromwell's sudden and powerful emergence akin to a lightning strike. Breaking the clouds where it was nose suggests that Cromwell's potential was contained and waited for the right moment to break forth. Did through his own side. This indicates that Cromwell's actions, though powerful, originated from within his own faction or allies. His fiery way divide. The imagery of fiery division depicts the intensity and destructiveness of war he brings about. For this all one to courage high. So the poem reflects on the nature of courage, suggesting it remains steadfast regardless of the enemy. The emulous or enemy indicates that whether facing competition or outright foes, true courage reacts the same way. And with such to enclose. Here implies the idea of engaging actively with these forces rather than just opposing them is more than to oppose. The conclusion underscores that active engagement in conflict is superior to mere opposition. It calls for brave action in the face of challenges. Then burning through the air he went. This refers to Cromwell's forceful and swift rise to power, suggesting his explosive impact on the political landscape. And palaces and temples rent. It highlights the destruction and upheaval caused by Cromwell as he disrupts established institutions, both secular, means palaces, and religious temples. And Caesar's head at last. So, this is a metaphorical reference to Julius Caesar, implying that Cromwell's actions have led to a comparable level of disruption and transformation in power akin to the fall of a dictator. Did through his laurels blast. Laurels symbolize victory and honor. Cromwell's actions have shattered these symbols, indicating a profound impact on the traditional forms of power and authority. 'Tis madness to resist or blame. So the speaker suggests that opposing Cromwell or blaming circumstances may be futile as his rise is seemingly sanctified by higher powers. The force of angry heaven's flame. So this line imbues Cromwell's actions with a divine quality, implying they are driven by fate or a higher power, perhaps as a response to societal issues. And if we would speak true, the speaker proposes honesty in evaluating Cromwell's role and impact on history. Much to the men is due. So this acknowledges that Cromwell deserves significant credit for his achievements and influences regardless of the means he employed. who from his private gardens where this reference indicates Cromwell's humble beginnings, living a reserved life before his accent. He lived reserved, austere. This emphasizes Cromwell's self discipline and serious nature, contrasting with the chaos he later engenders. As if his highest plot suggests that Cromwell's greatest ambition was simple, perhaps representing his modesty before he became a significant historical figure to plant the bergamot. Bergamot refers to a plant symbolizing cultivation and care in peace, reinforcing Cromwell's initial focus on personal and agricultural life, could by industrious Whaler climb. So, this phrase indicates that through hard work and courage, Cromwell rose to challenge and ultimately destroy the established power structure to ruin the great work of time, acknowledges that Cromwell's actions have dismantled centuries of political and social order, reshaping history itself and cast the kingdom old. This conveys the idea of transforming the old order, echoing the revolutionary changes brought about by Cromwell into another mold, suggests that Cromwell has reshaped the kingdom into something entirely new, reinforcing his role as both a creator and destroyer. Though Justice Against Fate complaint reflects the tension between justice, law, morality, and fate inevitability of events, suggesting that even justice cannot prevail against the course set by fate, and plead the ancient rights in vain, implies that appeals to traditional rights and justifications are ineffective in stopping Cromwell's advance and the changes he represents, but those do hold or break. This refers to the structures of power and alliances, pointing out that their stability relies on strength, as men are strong or weak. Concludes with the observation that the strength or weakness of men, leaders, authorities, or the populace determines the fate of kingdom and their systems. Now, here we in this section of stanza we see nature that hath emptiness. Nature is characterized as rejecting voids or absence. It favors fullness or activity, allows of penetration less. The idea of penetration refers to the acceptance of challenges or invasions. Nature prefers to keep its integrity intact and therefore must make room. So, this suggests that to accommodate something new or greater, nature has to create space. Where greater spirits come, greater spirits likely refers to influential leaders or significant ideas that take precedence in society. What field of all the civil wars? So the speaker questions which battlefield has been untouched by the struggles within the nation, where his were not the deepest scars. This implies that the scars or consequences of conflict are profound and lasting, insinuating Cromwell's impact. And Hampden shows what part. So, Hampden could refer to Oliver Cromwell, indicating he plays a significant role in these events. He had a wiser art. It suggests Cromwell possessed skill or wisdom in how he handled political and military challenges, where twinning subtle fears with hope. So Cromwell intertwined anxiety and optimism, reflecting the dual nature of his leadership. He wove a net of such a scope. So this metaphor suggests a complex plan or strategy that enveloped various aspects of the situation that Charles himself might chase. Refers to King Charles I being drawn into this broader political conflict, showing the power dynamics at play. To Carisbrooke narrow case. So Carisbrooke Castle was where Charles was imprisoned. It denotes a literal and figurative trapping of the king that thins the royal actor bone. So Charles, referred to as an actor, symbolically leaves Carisbrooke, highlighting a theatrical aspect of his role. The tragic scaffold might adorn. So this foreshadows Charles' execution with the scaffold, symbolizing the tragic end of a monarch. While round the armed bands refers to the soldiers or factions surrounding the event, emphasizing the ever-present nature of conflict. Did clap their bloody hands. So the imagery of clapping hands here suggests jubilation or approval from the factions, reflecting on the violent celebratory chaos of revolution. They can affirm his praises best. This line suggests that those who have been positively affected by Cromwell's actions or leadership are the most qualified to speak of his virtues and have, though overcome, confessed. It acknowledges that even those who have been defeated by Cromwell recognize and admits his merits. How good he is, how just. So the speaker reports that Cromwell is regarded as virtuous and just and fit for the highest truth. So this line continues to emphasize Cromwell's suitability for leadership and positions of great responsibility, nor yet grown stiffer with command. So, despite his position of power, Cromwell remains approachable and does not become rigid or authoritarian, but still in the Republic's hand. So, this suggests that Cromwell is a leader who still serves the public good and remains accountable to the Republic. How fit he is to sway. So, this line praises Cromwell's capability to influence and lead effectively that can so well obey. So it contrasts his ability to lead with his capacity to follow orders, implying that true leadership comes from understanding obedience. He to the commons feet presents. So Cromwell presents himself humbly before the commons, suggesting a democratic and humble approach, a kingdom for his first year's rents. So, this line indicates that he offers significant wealth or value as a pledge, symbolizing his commitment and the fruits of his leadership. And what he may forbears. Cromwell, despite his power, refrains from boasting and claiming everything for himself. His fame to make it theirs. He shares his successes with the public, enhancing their own reputation rather than hoarding glory, and has his sword and spoils ungirt. So, this imagery conjures up a sense of readiness. He doesn't flaunt his victories or the spoils of war to lay them at the public's court. Cromwell offers his achievements and accolades to the people, indicating his dedication to their welfare and the republic. So, when the falcon high. So the metaphor of the falcon begins here, signifying nobility, power, and freedom, possibly representing Cromwell's elevated position. Falls heavy from the sky. This implies a significant or breaking point where the falcon or Cromwell faces challenges or adversities. She, having killed no more, does surge. After a successful hunt, the falcon loses interest in further pursuit, symbolizing satisfaction or a moment of rest after achieving success, but on the next green bough to perch. So the falcon finds another resting place reminiscent of stability and security after accomplishing task, where when he first does lure. This suggests that the falcon has a strategy or lure indicating wisdom and leadership. The falconer has her shore. So, this line emphasizes the bond between the falcon and the falconer, portraying that proper guidance leads to assurance in leadership and success. He nothing common did or mean. So the speaker asserts that Cromwell was extraordinary, not typical or ordinary. This sets a tone of reverence upon that memorable scene. Refers to a significant event in history. This sets the stage for the importance of what follows. But with his keener eye, suggests Cromwell had an acute perception, able to see beyond the surface. This emphasizes his intelligence and insight. The axe edge did try. So, this line may refer to Cromwell's willingness to face danger or death, perhaps relating to the execution of King Charles I. It enhances his courage, nor called the gods with vulgar spite. So, Cromwell didn't invoke divine wrath in a petty way. He approached power and justice with gravity and respect, differentiating him from others to vindicate his helpless right. So suggests that Cromwell did not seek divine intervention for personal grievances. This reinforces his quiet strength and dignity, but bowed his comely head, so indicates humility even in the face of power. He shows decorum. His demeanor is noble and fitting for a leader. Down as upon a bed. So this simile suggests peace and submission rather than defeat, highlighting Cromwell's acceptance of fate. This was that memorable hour, refers to a specific impactful moment in history, emphasizing its lasting significance, likely tied to Cromwell's rise to power. which first assured the forced power, indicates that this movement validated the power Cromwell had seized, underpinning his authority and the changes he would bring. So, when they did design, referring to those involved in political or architectural plans, perhaps the architects of the new government or the capital. The capital's first line suggests the foundational principles of governance being laid down, symbolizing the birth of a new political structure, a bleeding head where they began. So, likely references the execution of Charles I. It evokes the brutal realities of political revolution and the sacrifice involved. Did fright the architects to run. So, the stark image caused alarm among those planning the new state, indicating fear and the implications of such violence. And yet, in that the state reflects on the inherent contradiction that amidst fear and chaos, the glorious emergence of a new state began. For so its happy fate suggests that despite the turmoil, foresight was present regarding the eventual success or prosperity of the Commonwealth under Cromwell. And now the Irish are ashamed. Moves to discuss perception of the Irish at that time, possibly highlighting their own political struggles and failures in the face of English strength, to see themselves in 1 year tamed. So the Irish are depicted as having been subdued, pointing to Cromwell's military campaigns in Ireland, which were brutal yet effective. So much one man can do. Emphasizes the power of an individual, with Cromwell being the central figure whose actions significantly impact the course of history. That does both act and know, suggests that true leadership involves both thoughtful action and understanding, with Cromwell encapsulating these qualities, highlighting his duality as a thinker and a doer. What may not then are I still presume the speaker questions what one can assert or expect from England, means the ISIL, now that Oliver Cromwell has achieved success. While victory his crest does plume. So Cromwell is symbolized as wearing a crest adorned with victory, suggesting that his triumphs, victory elevate his status and authority. What may not others fear? So, this line implies that if Cromwell continues to succeed, others, both enemies and rivals, could be filled with fear regarding his potential power, if thus he crowned each year. So, if Cromwell is able to claim victory annually, it raises concerns about the consolidation of his power and influence. A Caesar he ere long to Gaul. So Cromwell is compared to Julius Caesar, who was known for his conquests, specifically in Gaul, modern-day France. This comparison suggests Cromwell may expand his influence significantly to Italy and Hannibal. So Hannibal was a renowned military commander known for his campaigns against Rome. So the reference suggests Cromwell might similarly pose a significant threat to established powers and to all states not free. So this reflects the perception that Cromwell's conquest could extend to encompass nations that lack freedom or are ruled by tyranny. Shall climacteric be? So the term climacteric refers to critical or pivotal events. This implies that Cromwell's actions will have profound, deep impacts on all unfree states. The Pict no shelter now shall find. So the Pict refers to the ancient people of Scotland. This line suggests that they will no longer find refuge from Cromwell's military actions. Within his party-colored mind. So this likely refers to the complexity of the Pictish identity or mindset, possibly indicating that Cromwell's forces will penetrate even such diverse and complicated societies. But from this Whaler said, so this acknowledges the somber or tragic nature of Cromwell's Whaler. His bravery may come at the cost of others' suffering, shrink underneath the plaid. So here plaid suggests Scottish clothing, implying that the Scots may hide in fear from Cromwell's might. Happy if in the tufted brake. So this line ponders if the Scots would find some comfort wishing to remain undetected by hiding in dens and underbrush. The English hunter him mistake. So there is irony in the idea that an English hunter might confuse a Scottish warrior for a wild animal, showing the dire situation facing the Scots, nor lay his hounds in near. So this line paints a picture of the English hunting down Scots. It expresses a desire for the Scots to be left alone by their enemies. The Caledonian deer. So, Caledonian refers to Scotland, equating Scots with deer in the hunting metaphor, emphasizing their vulnerability. But thou, the war's and fortune's son. So, the speaker addresses Cromwell directly, referring to him as the son of war and fortune, depicting him as a favored figure of destiny. March indefatigably on. So, a call to Cromwell to continue his restless pursuit of military success and advancement. And for the last effect, so the speaker asserts that Cromwell must ensure he achieves his ultimate goals and objectives. Still keep thy sword erect. This suggests that Cromwell must always be ready for battle with his sword raised, symbolic of his readiness to defend and assert his power, besides the force it has to fight. So acknowledges that Cromwell's sword not only signifies his authority but also serves as a tool to instill fear in others, the spirits of the shady night. So the imagery evokes supernatural or ghostly entities that might symbolize doubts or struggles in battle. The same arts that did gain. So Cromwell must use the same strategies and tactics that help him achieve his current status. A power must it maintain. Concludes that the ability to gain power also requires the ability to sustain it, stressing the importance of continued vigilance and military prowess. Then with this video lecture ends here. Hope this video lecture will help you in your exams. Thank you.